Da-da-da. And here we are. Hi y'all. Before we get the session started proper, which means like Griffin being in charge and doing the stuff and the things, I'm gonna talk to you guys for a moment like this is an after school special. Um,
You have to sit on your chair backwards.
I can't. That'll hurt. Hi guys. If you're here watching, thanks for coming here. Thanks for showing up to potentially the ending of Blight of Opehc. We don't really know yet. We're thinking maybe. We
70-30.
we're getting real close there. Either way, we do have the Vault of the Ivory Queen. It's on its like last legs, last few hours. We have doubled the original funding goal, which is great. We have over 50 backers, also fantastic. If you're wanting to check that out, please go ahead and do that. We'd super appreciate it, all of us here. If not, stay around and enjoy whatever is about to happen. Griff.
I would like to make a minor correction. You were at 212%.
Oh yeah, did we kick over again?
Yeah. You have more than doubled significantly.
All right.
That's fantastic.
That's great. I'll take that. Yeah. No.
That's because the books are
19
good.
hours to go. But yeah, no, welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you've been keeping tabs, because we're in the end game now. So, you know, I didn't mean to do an Avengers sort of callback, but we're in countdown. Like, this is the last phase. There's not a lot else that can happen unless they decide to completely go off script and then the town destroys itself somehow in the background. That's the only other way this ends. So, let's see how this goes. We're going to do a quick check in with our players and get to reintroduce their characters. Elle, please.
Hello, I'm Elle. If you want to find me on social media, I'm on Instagram at @TandDaisies with 2 S's at the end. But I play Quillz, who is a gnome. She is resident librarian / fisherman drinking buddy. She is at the current time recovering from being maybe not knocked out's not the word, just wooziness. She's got some residual wooziness perhaps lingering from last session, but she's fairly fine at the moment.
Nice. Artemis, if you would.
Hi, I'm Artemis. If you want to find me on any social media, you can't. Because I'm not on there. I play Snipps, a Kobold wizard who is both cook and owner of a Marigold Tavern. Is currently dealing with both a little bit of a blight infection and also an unconscious mentor figure on his shoulder. So yeah, currently trying to sort that one out. Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Vinny.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Vinny or Vander. You can find me at vander.vision for all your cosplay, photography, and videography needs. I also make D&D content when I'm not being a player, which is about to become not real often real soon, which is going to make me real sad, because it means I'm just a DM full-time again. Chanor is stressy right now. The most stressy he's been in a while, because a bunch of people just, like, in front of him. So he's going to try to figure out what those problems are and to stop that from happening. Question mark. Griff.
And I am Griffin S, where you can find me online on Instagram at Griffin_ESS. And I provide a lot of artistic and creative services amongst other things. But for the time being, I am god of this world. And as such, let me give you all a quick recap of where we are. So, last session, some stuff happened. Then they went and found Hilda. Then more stuff happened, and it became obvious that Hilda is also blight infected. And that is complicated because Hilda was probably one of their more powerful allies, to be honest. But now her and Snipps are both having some blight after effects. And after a strange confrontation, it's not exactly a fight, but it definitely was a tense moment where people had very different interests in that second at the Marigold have occurred. a lot of people passed out from different levels of having energy drained from them. Chanor has done a great job of reestablishing the health of those people. And we did a hand wave jump at the... Oh, and Snipps got Hilda, who is now unconscious, away from the scene. So that could take place easier without any magical absorption occurring to limit Chanor's after efforts. But the hand wave time jump that we ended with last session was that we were going to start this session with Chanor and Quillz at the Marigold, finished with cleanup, having a drink, and they're going to compare notes, and then we're going to jump to Snipps and Hilda, who have found some place to sit down. Hilda's finally come out of the stupor enough to talk, and the two Blight infected people are going to have a chat, and then onward. So, if everyone would roll me initiative. We're not going to carry from the last one, because I don't have that paper in front of me, and I don't feel like trying to guess or recount, because that's going to eat time that I don't want to bother with. If you get 20 or higher, just shout it out. Perfect.
20.
Snipps at 20. Anyone get higher than 15? Anyone get higher than 10? Anyone get higher than 5?
Yep.
Anyone get higher than 0?
I got 6.
Oh, okay. Quillz?
I get 2.
Okay.
Apparently, Elle is Woozy too.
That is
I mean,
impressive.
this is kind of in character. You guys would be a little bit drained after all that chaos, whereas Snipps and Hilda are siphoning off everything around them, so they're pretty much don't need to worry about being drained unless they run out of actual magical energies. Or have a siphon fight between the two of them. Anyways.
Siphon fight.
With the order of operations, we will actually have Snipps and Hilda's conversation happen first. Where did you take Hilda and settle down?
So I originally said that I was taking Hilda just back to her shop, at least on the way to her shop. Yeah. I'm not going to take her all the way because in the shop there's a wyvern egg, and Snipps is still quite conscious of the fact that Hilda just pulled some semblance of magical essence or something like that from him, and that he could potentially do the same thing, and that in the vicinity of a wyvern egg is generally Chanor's clinic instead.
Cool. So I'm guessing it was choppy for everybody, but I did catch the gist that they're worried about the egg, so they don't want to take Hilda there and risk draining it again, so they've redirected to the clinic. Okay, now Artemis seems to be having the feedback delay, so we're going to mark that as a yes, and if this doesn't settle up in a second or two, then we'll jump conversations.
Yeah, sorry.
Perfect.
Yes.
But yeah, if we have another issue, we'll just jump the conversation to the other two and give you a second to see if maybe your connection clears up. But for now,
sure
we're at the clinic. There are some clinicians there. There is still the... You guys didn't release the other dude yet, did you? He's still there as a patient, yes?
He's still there as a patient, but not shackled to the bed any longer, I think.
Yeah, we took off the restraints.
So he's just there as an actual patient.
Cool. So, are you having your conversation outside? Are you going inside and settling down on some chairs at a table or at a desk or something? Or what is the plan?
Is there in the just vicinity outside of a clinic, is there something I don't know, maybe a bench or something like that?
Yeah, probably. There's probably benches scattered around the roads.
Okay. In that case, I would just send it towards the nearest bench and get Hilda to sit down myself, and then basically go, okay, I think we need to talk, and I think what just happened came off very not as it was intended.
I mean, that's fair. We know each other from way back. I didn't know what they were up to be honest. And I don't know. I do feel weird. So I might not be responding as reasonably as normal, but
Yeah, I get that feeling as well for me. So I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not quite sure what's happening. I mean, Chaina is acting pretty weird the last few days, and it just. I wouldn't say I don't trust him, but I'm a little bit suspicious if he has everything under control that's going on right now. But I mean, on the other hand, I also know that I'm not the most reliable of sources right now, just from the whole Blight infection. And, I still kind of have this feeling of, I don't know, feeling thirsty almost, but I've just had some wine, I've just had some water, so I, for all intents and purposes, should not be thirsty, but I still
I have
kind of am,
definitely
and I don't
noticed
know
that like
why.
food and water taste a little weird. So I'm with you. There's something off. But in terms of Chanor not having everything, not being on top of everything, that's really more of Quill's thing, isn't it? To be on top of everything, just like
I mean, you would think that,
decisive.
but then again, Quills.
Hmm.
I think she's better in believing she's on top of everything, and uh, apart from the well, I think she's better in believing she's on top of everything and has everything figured out than actually being that. If you get what I'm saying.
I mean, I kind of get what you're saying. I don't think I agree, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, but so what we were trying to do, or at least trying to suggest, was that clearly you're infected with blight, and clearly I'm infected with blight,
Who are
and
you calling infected with blight?
both of us.
That is her response.
Yeah,
Oh, oh,
both
all
of
right.
us.
Then
You
if
literally
you're
just
also
sapped me out of my magical power just 30 minutes ago.
that what that was. Huh.
Yeah, I've been noticing it happening to me as well. Basically, every time Jaina is trying to cast a spell in my vicinity, which is usually some kind of, I don't know, shocking grasp or swear dying stuff, um, the spell doesn't take hold, and instead of that, it kind of feels for me like I've just downed an espresso.
Hmm. That is weird.
Yeah, so and the only other guy we've met who has clearly been affected by the blight in a meaningful way was the one dude who basically turned himself into a half fish. You were aware, you saw him. Um,
Yeah.
and that seemed to recede after he had been at the clinic for a while and basically had just been there to, well, I guess detox?
Oh, I probably caught it from that jerk.
I mean, I
Yeah,
probably
that's
got it
fair.
from a zombie biting me.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
here. And I show her the bite marks that are still very much not healing.
Do me a favor, roll a persuasion check while we're doing all this.
Hmm.
I just want to see if she's still vaguely suspicious of you, because she's definitely suspicious of the other two, but she's trying to trust you. I want to see how well that's actually playing
That's
out.
a 9.
Noted.
Mm.
I have
Cool.
inspiration left, but nah, I think that's kind of, yeah,
It's
that.
gonna be successive. Like right now, she's still a little iffy, but unless you
Yeah,
crit failed, she wasn't gonna make a move right this second. So you have a little bit of time. We'll have
that's
two
nice
more
to
rolls
hear.
before any
Yeah,
consequences occur. But continue.
yeah. So basically, the train of thought was that we've only have had one person affected in a very big way, and they seem to do better after they had been away from the source of, well, I guess the source of blight that made them do this, so away from the lake and basically out of commission for a while. So we kind of thought that maybe that could help as well for other people who are infected. I'm still not very sure if that's actually gonna work or if that's actually even a smart idea. But I mean, I'm not the medicine guy. I'm okay with patching people up. I'm not the most wise people in terms of knowing the science stuff.
Fair, especially if you're going to refer to it as the science stuff. I get that. Um,
Well, you know what
but
I
no,
mean.
I do. But I'm just saying that is a
Ch-
non-technical
China
way to
is the
explain it.
ailment guy. I'm a cook.
So what do you think we should do? Like, it does sound like there are benefits to this that's happening currently, but I see your point that, like, we did deal with a guy who kind of went weird with it.
Truth be told, I don't really know. I noticed that whenever I cast a spell, and it doesn't matter if it's a cantrip or something a little bit more potent, in the beginning, it used to basically siphon off some of my power. Like I had, I don't know, an internal well of water, and every time I cast a spell, I heaved up a bucket of it until it is empty.
Huh.
And I have not felt that sensation for at least the past 2 weeks, if not a little bit longer.
Oh.
Um, and also, I mean, you kinda, I don't really know what you did, but you kinda threw something into the wine at the tavern right now, and so China blasted that thing out of a window, and I cast a spell called Calm Emotions to basically make the other people in the room indifferent to it, which worked. But also half of them collapsed unconscious.
Oh, that's too indifferent. Yeah. That is
Yeah,
more indifferent than is
I'm
probably...
so I don't appear to be using my own resources, but apparently someone else's.
Okay. And that
Which I
explains
mean,
why I somehow drained you.
yeah, and I
Huh.
mean, I guess it has a lot of uses if used in the right way, but also it makes, I don't know, if I were to summon a produce flame in my hand, chances are that women over there would just collapse.
Fair. Let's not do that right this second. Actually,
Yeah, probably
no,
not.
I like her. Don't do that right now.
Well, no, it's not Amelia, so I'm not even
Oh,
going to do it to
yeah,
honor
I wouldn't
Arve's
even try to
legacy or
stop you if
something
it
like
was
that.
Amelia.
Uh,
I mean, I don't hate her as much as you guys do, but I know there was a whole
I
thing.
don't hate her at all. It would just be to honor Arve, truth be told.
Your neighbor right now. Has he still been giving you a headache? You should go mess with him.
Veteran. Yeah, I just try to not think about him too much.
That's probably fair.
I mean, have you tried drinking just very old, very much by the best before date milk that has kind of spoiled and soured? Or maybe milk that has been in the sun too much and because of that slightly soured?
I know what you're talking about. I have drank milk that I confused, or I drank something I confused for milk, but they were making curds and whey with. So yeah, there's that middle bit where it's awful.
Yeah, so that guy looks like he's drinking that shit weekly and just on a daily basis instead of coffee.
That's definitely one way to explain it. That is a bitter old man at that point, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
all right. So what do
saw
you want
plus
to do
grumpy face all
next?
over.
Like, if this is, I mean, I think your assessment's probably our best working theory. But what do you want to do with this or about this now? Because I don't have any good ideas right this second.
Honestly, me neither. The medical ideas are kind of China's forte. I'm just the one who usually mumbles random shit and makes people have ideas because of that.
Okay. Well, then we should probably just wait here. They'll be by eventually, I'm assuming.
I mean, I hope
Should we go
so.
talk to them then?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
Just checking. You're not going to throw any more liquid bottles or drain me or something like that?
As long as I don't feel threatened, roll me one more persuasion check.
Ooh, nice. 19. 18 on the die.
You're breaking even so far. As long as I don't feel threatened, I don't. That there was like a weird impulse moment where I felt really concerned for my safety at that moment. But
Yeah.
if I'm being affected by light poisoning, then it might have been something to do with that. But I don't think I have any ill intentions. But that bottle thing, that was a good trick. I ran into that combination of effect. I had never thought I'd find a good use for it. And I realized I had the liquid, and I had a little bit of that mushroom, and when you combine them, that's just what it does.
Oh, you really have to tell me how that works. And probably until the other two show up, Snipps is just going to basically do shop talk, but with chemicals and mushrooms instead of woodworking tools.
Nice. All right, we will leave you two to that, and go over to Chanor and Quillz to have a nice post cleanup chat to see how that's going. One of you keeps having like weird audio problems.
I did bump my desk.
Oh, a couple times. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. So you two are at the Marigold. Everyone else is cleared out. You guys have cleaned up as best as possible. There's probably like a plank of wood over the window for the time being, unless one of you knows mending. But otherwise, have your chat.
Did you take care of the sponge in the backyard, or is it still there?
Some things other people can do. Quillz. Some things are not our responsibility. That is not a humanoid life. I am not concerned. I already checked. There was nobody in it. That's all I care about.
Okay. All right. Cool. I mean, maybe there's a trash can in it or something, but that's fine.
That's still fine for me, as far as
that's fine. Okay. So, how are you feeling after you just healed that restaurant full of people?
That was terrifying. Like, better situation than the time someone decided to cast an inferno that burned down half a city. I couldn't heal any of those people, but it was still bad. It's not supposed to get worse. It's supposed to get better. What the hell?
And I'm sorry I wasn't awake for it.
That's not your fault. It's not. Technically, it's not really anybody's fault. It's that.
No. It was just a miscommunication.
It's the scab. I gotta remove the goddamn scab. I don't know what we're gonna do about it. That both of them have things we gotta figure out about. I don't know who or what. I'm tired. I'm real tired.
Yeah.
They have espresso here, right? Or someone has a leftover espresso. I just start looking around for leftover espresso.
Just take it from one of the pastel people.
And there's probably a way to make coffee that's pretty straightforward, yeah.
Quillz is gonna look in the snack drawer and be like,
Yeah, no. I mean, actually, there's probably half a pot of coffee still sitting there, to be honest. So yeah, by all means, have at it.
There's just like food and stuff that's not messed up that's sitting around. I'm just like, that's fine.
Yeah,
no one else is eating it.
Eating a cookie.
So, apparently me explaining everything to you was a bad choice, because that took too long.
A little bit.
But now we gotta figure out what's gonna go on those two, which is the big concern. Like I said, I'm very, very tired. The biggest problem is that they endanger themselves and other people. I don't even like them endangering themselves, but if they endangered just themselves, it would be something that I would try to figure out and come to circumstance with if I had to. But that just happened, and I just gesture at the mess. And it looks
Yeah.
like it's getting worse.
Well, it's my biggest concern right now is like not fixing them, but getting like how to get them into a situation in which we can get them back to normal. Because judging by Hilda's reaction just now, and how Snipps is perfectly fine 1 minute and then like almost aloof the next, it's concerning because all we want to do is help them, but I'm not sure if it's not coming across that way or if something that the Blight does makes them instinctively jerk away from anything that has to do with fixing them.
We don't know how living the Blight is, if it's enough of a sentient thing that it's trying to protect itself.
Right.
That's a thing. But we don't know if that's a thing. The problem is there's too much unknown in that sense. We know little things about it. The fact that we've even come this far without all dying is in fact a miracle. So, like, bless whatever gods are watching over us in that sense. But yeah, we can try talking to them again, but it looked like those two were having a heart-to-heart when I came and talked to you, and that ended up with... I gesture around again.
Chaos.
Yeah. I kind of just want to make sure one of them gets knocked out, because if one of them's knocked out, that's not two people siphoning. Because both of them together in the same room seems like a really big, potentially continuously growing problem. And then there's the alchemist stuff. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, there's the alchemist stuff in her shop. I hope they didn't go over there because that her being infected, and then being around that couldn't have helped in any way.
Get that egg out of there, I think. But that's a thing that I'm not concerned enough to worry about right now. We need to get them not fasting. Fasting? I guess fasting from magic. The way we did with the other person. They need to just be strapped up and not capable of doing anything for a short while. So.
Point of order. Roll me an intelligence check.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
Or the one most likely to actually know what's happening with that, so I'm going to give you a chance for it.
Cool. 17 plus 4. I can do math. 21.
Yeah, no, that's solid. As you're talking, you suddenly have this realization that it wasn't necessarily the blight that had left him. It was more the spell slowly decreasing in power because it was no longer being siphoned from other stuff, and it wasn't like being actively upkept because he was sedated. So him being sedated minimized the ability to absorb magic to maintain the magic that was running. You actually don't know if he's still blight afflicted in any way, shape, or form, because as far as you could tell from talking to him in his research, he doesn't have innate spellcasting abilities either. So he might not know how to use magic in a way that pulls it so dramatically from other people.
Gotcha.
He may only be able to do ritualistic style stuff.
Gotcha. Which could grow into a dangerous thing again eventually. So that's still a down the line problem. This one's a much bigger one. I will reiterate that stuff for Quillz though, so that way I'm not the only one with that knowledge in case I don't know, die.
Do you think we should test and see if he still has the blight in him? And by that I mean like I can do my detect magic thing and see if he still has the blighty aura in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
Maybe do that, but that really is, again, compare this to even what was going on with him out in the water. I don't think Kino's the main concern right now. Like, that's a thing we still need to clear up eventually, but I'm much more worried.
Worried about them.
About this.
Yeah. Because I want Hilda and Snipps to be safe.
But if that's not a way
I don't want them I don't want them, and by safe I mean better, and not.
Yeah,
But I don't want them to come out of this hating me. But if they come out of this hating me in 100% well, I'll take it.
But we don't even know if that will 100% make them well. The only thing I know for a fact, or I don't know for a fact, I'm like 95% certain of, is if we remove that bite mark, that'll definitely change one of the things that's going on with Snipps. Problem is, the other thing that's going on with both of them, which I'm thinking are two separate things, it might reduce to a point that it's fine. We don't know if it'll reduce to nothing.
Right. So it's just to see how far, like, how much it can be diminished in them.
Yeah. So I don't know what the final solution for that specific thing is. But that bite mark definitely isn't helping.
No, it's not.
So
No, it's not.
at the very
Do you
least,
think it should be like? I'm sorry, you can go.
I was say at the very least, sedating should happen, because the sedating at least brought everything down to a manageable level. Otherwise, there might be a solution at Hilda's, but I don't know enough about Hilda's stuff to know if there is anything there that could be a solution.
Yeah, I'm not an alchemist. The next person and other than Hilda that would know would be Snipps, and I mean I could do some reading on alchemy.
If you want to go read Hilda's books, we can do that. But again, I would like to see if we can sedate them first and at least get this lowering.
Right. I think that's a good place to start. As far as Snip's bite's concerned, are you wanting to do like full-on biopsy type situation, or
how bad is it, Griff? Like, if you were like on an arm, how are we, like, bite mark, whole arm? Like, how bad is it?
About humanoid mouth size. So like,
yeah, but is it growing in the same way that the other things we've seen grow?
No, that is the one thing you've definitely noticed, is that his is not malignantly replicating like that. It is just like he's had no heat infection responses. There's been no swelling. Like the fact that he's had no significant biological change other than having like broken skin that is also not healing but also not bleeding. Like that's the weirdest thing that's happening.
Gotcha. Yeah. So.
But again, you did previously have at least a stray thought, I think, or it somehow came up and got mentioned that, like, there might be a difference between, like, humanoid corpse bite versus living blight-infected plant damage.
Whatever the blight travels through then changes the makeup of the blight enough. Or whatever, the different potential blights.
Yeah, the delivery method has different things, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, unless the two are going to counteract each other at some point, we should get the bite mark off.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I have to remove Snipps' arm, but like it's probably going to hurt unless Snipps is asleep, which I would prefer.
You sedate him and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I got to pretend I'm a surgeon. That's going to be fun. Okay.
I'll get an anatomy book at the ready.
Gotcha.
Oh god. This is not where I thought today was already going to start going. Cool. Okay, so what do you two want to do next? Or do you want to talk about any bigger plans on top of this, or do you just want to, like, move on to action from now?
Well, I mean, the other thing to talk... I guess technically that's small fries if we're talking about the Blight overall, so, I mean... The only thing I really have to mention about the Blight overall is us actually going to the cemetery and checking things out. And, like, trying to figure out an end-all... Again, we don't know how this works. We don't know if, like, we killed the Blight, it deactivates... It's like, is there a mothership that when you kill it, it deactivates all the drones? Like what we don't know what the end-all, be-all solution is if we can just...
We jumped full sci-fi on that response.
Yeah. Are we gonna Independence Day this shit? Like, I don't know. So, like... Maybe focusing on the Blight as a whole is a smarter option, but this is very close, very personal, and happening to us right now, so that feels more...
I blame Artemis for referencing Independence Day last week. Anyway.
I
I
was.
will have Quillz roll me an intelligence or history check.
History check.
Yeah. You have done a lot of research, and you've been the one collecting the most rumors. So there's actually some conclusion on this topic that you might be able to make. Connection.
Rolled a 7.
7.
And that's with my bonus.
Okay. Then you've had a very stressful day, and you hear the word cemetery, and you're like, actually, that might be a good idea. Actually, that might be a really good idea, but I can't think of why right now. It'll come to me later. And that's about as far as your brain gets before it fogs back over from exhaustion.
What did you roll on the dice?
I rolled a 4 on the dice, and I got +3.
Oh, you have a +3 in history? Weird. I thought it was going to be higher than that.
That won't make much of a difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why is my history better than yours? You're the librarian.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Where do you two head after you leave the Marigold? Where are you headed next? It's evening. It's not probably bedtime yet. There's probably still fishermen at the docks having drinks and doing their normal thing. There's beds to be slept in. There's the hotel bar that is still open if you want to be social at all. I don't know what your vibe is. Eventually, I'm guessing Quillz will go back to Chanor will go back to his bed where the clinic is and see the other two out front, but like we can figure this out after we figure out what you guys are doing now.
Quillz is exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to check out Hilda's and the clinic because I think I said go to the clinic for Snipps. So I'm kind of hoping that Snipps did bring Hilda there. I don't remember if I specified the clinic or not. I thought I did. But
you kind of put up an argument for it, yes.
So
I think it would have been done meta. I'm not sure if it was done in character, but it was definitely like handled some way.
Yeah. So
at the very least, I'm like very % sure that the clinic is on the way to the library.
Very % sure is my favorite thing.
I believe the clinic is on the way to Quillz's little home situation.
It's a little bit triangulated, but like it's pretty easy to like go a block out of your way to like pass by before turning towards the library. Yeah, it's not so far out of the way.
Yeah.
So, basically, like definitely looking for them. Like that's the end result is trying to find them because like after we're done cleaning this up, we don't know what happens. They get into another fight. 20 other people die.
Yeah.
But at least your friends are safe. Isn't that something?
Not yet. You're in danger of yourself.
So, Snipps, please roll me one more persuasion check as you two have been chatting this whole time, and we'll see how much you are maintaining confidence.
Okay, for that I'm going to re-roll because that was another 8, and I'm not about that. So chrono shift into another 8. Never mind. So 9.
I will not let you waste your
total.
chrono shift, but that's another 9. So as you guys are talking shop, there just are a couple moments where like you say something and Hilda looks a little like twitchy or distracted, like a stray thought just got in. And as you're about to address it, like you suddenly become aware of the fact that she's suddenly looking paranoid. And you're about to be like, hey, it's this, are you okay? And as you do that, she just grabs your arm and then, like, knocks you the fuck out. And before you
as in
arrive...
Blight or as in...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, sort of, this is the first time she's actively doing it, but she actively did it. But she saps you, you pass out for not very long, probably about 15 seconds. And as you're coming out of it, you're on the bench and you're just sort of like, oh, god damn it, what the hell? And then maybe a minute or two later, as you're like sitting down just trying to get your head back, Quillz and Chanor arrive and they're like, oh, there's one of them. Discuss!
Hey, Snipps.
Snipps is sitting on the bench and just looking like he's just been hit by a truck.
I'm assuming did the thing that you did to Quillz happen, but to you, or something else entirely?
I don't know what you're talking about in terms of a thing that happened to Quills, but the thing that Hill did it to me in the tavern just happened again, and I kind of passed out for a moment. It doesn't seem much late in the evening, but yep, she's gone.
That's probably a thing to worry about at some point.
That's future us's problem. Right now, Snipps, how are you doing? Other
What
than the
does it look like
zappingness.
I'm doing?
Other than the zappingness, what were y'all doing before?
I was talking to her, trying to explain what we were trying to do, and telling her that both she and I are obviously infected with that stuff, and that we don't really have another modus operandi apart from getting people out cold for a while. Apparently, that wasn't a good idea.
Wasn't a fan of it, I guess. Okay. I mean, there's like a 90% chance she went back to her shop. Like, like, really easy to track down, probably.
Yep. I'm not gonna lie, the first thing that popped into Quill's head was, well, crap, I hope she doesn't rob a bank.
Oh God, that's.
That doesn't seem
Oh man.
quite.
She
her
just thought
style.
it, she didn't say it, she just thought it.
Fair enough. Alright, well, you both got drained. If I get drained too, we're all gonna just be out. This might be a thing that has to wait.
Just give me a moment. I'm gonna be fine. I can still do something.
Okay. Or do we care enough
And
about the Hilda stuff to do that right now, or?
yeah, Snipps is just going to close his eyes, take a couple of deep breaths, and then just shake his head and stand up.
Roll me a Constitution save. You don't have to roll high. You just have to not biff it.
Oh, that's a 13 on the die, so 15.
Okay, yeah, you're fine. You just had to really
Nice.
beat like a 4, honestly.
Yeah, nice. Got that.
Yeah, you stand up. You still feel a little loose, but you're definitely not suffering any vertigo or dizziness at the moment.
That's good.
So
I'm fine. Do we want to search for her now, or do we think that's okay to leave it be right now? I don't know. I'm pulling at straws here.
yeah, I mean, so far we got 3 ways that I think we can handle this. Please toss in any other options if you guys got them. 1, Snipps. We have you start the process of you like laying down, resting, and having it slowly like leave you. 2, we get Hilda first, and then we have both of you do it. I don't know if Hilda's going to be willing, which is a whole other thing. 3, we just try to solve whatever the bold blight problem is first and skip parts 1 and 2, and hope that there isn't a situation that comes up where we all get drained.
I think option 1 is bullshit, just because if you want to get Hilda in any way, you're far more susceptible to being drained than I am, because I can at least, I guess, work against that a little bit more, so you're going to need me. So if we're going to put both of us under, it has to be the both of us and not one, and then essentially by that weakening our chances of getting the other.
It's fair.
That seems fair. Are y'all up to that now, or do y'all want to reconvene in the morning?
I don't feel so good. I think it would be best to probably check out the cemetery if you wanted to do that anyway. Just I mean, this is a problem, yes. And I'm fucking pissed that she did that. Because, I mean, the time in the time in the tavern was clearly unintentional and just some kind of instinctive reaction. This was intended. This was an attack, and I'm fucking mad about it. But again, we currently have probably bigger issues.
Y'all want to talk about
sorry.
this some more? Yep.
Just because of timing and stuff, the question was, do you guys want to go to sleep first or go do something?
Oh. Okay.
Sleep
gotcha.
first. Sleep first.
I would also argue for sleep first because Snipps is developing a very big headache right now.
You just didn't actually like address the actual thing, and I was like, if you guys talk in another couple rounds of circles, we're gonna lose a lot of time today. But yeah, okay. So if you end up going to sleep, continue with the other two of you and like pinning down what the plan is.
Yeah, we can all just go to sleep. But yeah, I mean, problem is we go to sleep, we wake up the next day, and we have the same questions where we have to like figure out what we want to do next.
Totally fair.
Yeah, but at least I don't.
I'll help with
that.
Turn
At
into those
least I
vultures
don't
from
feel
Jungle Book.
like I've been, I don't know, run over by a carriage or something.
Fair enough.
Well, it's a long rest to
Hopefully.
do us all good.
Long rest it is.
Cool. Do you guys have any final business or discussion points before you do your long rest?
Snipps is currently not the most talkative, so none from me.
Cool. Chanor?
If Kino is still around, I'm gonna double check with Kino and do a quick once over, one more test, using some magic and seeing if there's a thing that happens after I had that little inkling.
Oh. Yes, no, he is still siphoning magic. It's not nearly as strong, but it is still just sort of like taking you a second to manifest, but you are doing it enough to get a grip on it.
Gotcha. I don't know how.
But you also don't notice him like having any visible reaction to it. Like he doesn't seem aware.
Yeah, but we don't know if this like went from malignant to benign and like how benign it may be. So,
Good point.
so as far as I know, this just still means there's an issue. This one again, the weakest of the bunch, the least of a concern, but it's still a thing.
Gotcha.
So I just table that knowledge to share with the others in the morning. I'm gonna tell Kino and explain it to him and be like, hey, this thing that we thought we got rid of, it's at its minutest stage, but it still exists. You should be fine, but if you ever get worried about your own sanity, please come here and talk to us before you let something take over again.
Oh yeah, no, that's probably for the best. That's all right. Thank you for checking up. I honestly wish I understood this more.
I wish I did too.
All outside of my purview. Yeah. I researched a bunch of stuff, but all I really learned is like causality, not so much like diagnostics.
I wish there was a magical form of entropy so I could just entropy this specific thing.
Quillz, what are you up to?
Quillz is gonna.
Last thoughts?
She's with Snipps, super tired. She's gonna ask Snipps if she wants her to walk him back to the tavern or not. Just because they're both tired and maybe walking by themselves is not the smartest option.
No,
but
don't worry, I got it. Snipps is just going to start walking.
All right, then Quillz is gonna go home.
Cool. All right. Day-night cycle kicks over. You guys wake up in the morning. Did you guys set up any like specific time or place to meet, or was it more of just a like everyone sleep as long as you can, and we'll check in when we do?
I think probably the latter.
I mean,
Any counter thoughts?
Maybe meet up at the clinic, because at least at the clinic we can get the cart and we can be easily mobile wherever we need to go.
And recently that's where we've been meeting up at, so...
Fair.
Okay. So, then yes, morning comes, you folks eventually wake up, and eventually all of you are there. We're just going to jump straight to it.
Cool.
But
No
you
one-
are now completely replenished, and it is now morning. You've had time. Presume that, like, when you two arrive at the clinic, Chanor is already up and, like, prepping the cart on the assumption that, like, some type of travel either to Hilda's or the cemetery may need to occur today.
Yep. I need to do one more test, Snipps. I just want to see if your radius has changed. So I'm gonna get like 30 feet away, do the shocking grasp thing, and then just do the slow walk forward.
About 15 feet out, you start to notice a pull. It's not dramatic until you get to about 10 feet, but it starts at 15 feet now.
When I just start feeling the pull, I cut it. I'm like, all right, that's good to know, because if we need to deal with something, at least we understand like spatial awareness for this stuff. Chenor's still tired.
Hey, no.
Havoc biscuit. Snipps
you.
has brought some
Nice.
basically trail rations, but more along the lines of sweets and picnic supplies, and less along the lines of rations.
Nice. Very nice.
And Quillz brought with her a book on anatomy in case they need it, and a book on alchemy, just in case.
Cool. And because it's you, I'm sure you know, like, one, the best books to bring, and two, what Hilda has most recently been researching. So, yeah, we can work with that.
Do we want to try bugging Hilda? Straight to cemetery, bugging Hilda, go out to the forest. What do we?
I mean, I think we kind of decided upon going to the cemetery.
Yeah, that's the most pressing, largest issue. So while Hilda is a pressing issue, it's not the biggest fish to fry right now.
Also, let's just say I'm not really looking forward to meeting up with her again, because I'm still very mad.
That is fair.
I mean, that's valid. It's 100% valid. I would be too in your situation. But cemetery it is, kiddos?
Sure.
Alright.
Snipps just climbs in the back of her wagon.
Yep. Quillz is there too.
All right. You folks make your way down. There is a church you basically have to pass at the front of the, like, you're basically, as you're accessing the cemetery, there's like a gate closer to where you guys are, but that's never actually open. That's more for like if people near the docks have a problem and they need to get bodies in quickly. But the main entrance for like guests is on the far side, which means you'd have to pass the church. I don't know if you have any business at the church, but I doubt it. I just wanted to point that out.
So
Has anyone been to
the
the
building
church?
would be
I don't think we've been to the church this entire time.
No, you haven't.
we are
No,
not
because
religious
the
people.
only
You haven't been to the
Wait.
church, you haven't dealt with the bounders, you haven't really interacted with the militia very much.
uh
I did pull that
one
prank on that one
moment.
initiative.
Did do that.
Would I know that some undead are susceptible to radiant damage, or should I roll for that?
You can roll for it, but I will also note that you don't know if the blight affected count technically as undead in the same context. But you can roll
Yeah,
to see if
no.
you know if radiant damage deals with normal undead.
Yeah, that's an 18 on the die, I assume I do.
Yeah, you have
Um,
some. You came up across it somewhere talking to Hilda about some stuff when, like, she had an old story about a necromancer that she knew in her old student days and had to figure it out.
Oh, Chanor, can you stop here just for a minute?
Yep.
And Snipps is going to run inside the church and is going to buy some holy water.
Gotcha.
7 gold 50.
No. Foul. Well, foul yet.
Okay, so you're just going in trying to find like a cleric of some kind, or not a cleric, like a like even an altar
Pretty
boy
much,
or a
yeah.
brother, essentially, to like give you a quick purchase. You're not really doing anything. Okay, yeah. So we can absolutely just make that a thing that happens.
Very nice.
How many container or how many vials?
I only have about 11 gold, so I can only buy one.
Okay. And you got one.
Nice.
That's some expensive holy water. Just thought about that. How big is the
I mean,
vial?
it's 3 uses and 1d8 plus 4 radiant damage for the next weaponisher damage, so it is quite good.
Yeah, it works like poisoning a blade, except it's like holy watering a blade, so you get to like do a lot of time of blessed attacks for a bit, and you get 3 uses of it. So it is expensive, but you get a lot of bang for your buck.
Now,
Yeah.
if we mix that in the cauldron,
You'll get disgusting soup.
Oh my god!
Not if I put my healing elixir. I'm just kidding.
it heals,
soup
it
tastes
hurts, it
oily.
does everything. It's the cure-all elixir that we've been looking for.
Does this soup
Well,
taste
kind
like
of
balm
funky.
to you? Yeah, it does kind of taste like balm to me.
Has a lot of unique flavoring. Anyways,
If you're
Put
religious, you
some
don't have to
hair
say
on your
grace over
chest.
your soup anymore.
it's so sad that we've like missed like 2 or 3 of these places this entire time, but I don't feel like we have a lot of time to. It'd be weird to
I feel like we haven't had.
check into the church and be like, "Hey, we haven't visited here yet. Who do we know?"
Well, let me introduce these 3 new side quests. Congratulations!
Huzzah!
Uh,
Yeah, so probably gonna just
Oh,
go to the cemetery. Everyone good? No zombies? We good? Okay.
cool. Right. So you folks head into the cemetery grounds. Shoot, have you guys actually met the engineer here before? Or has he just been talked about?
I thought.
Quillz met 2
Will's
people.
not
Quillz
there,
did.
and
Quillz met 2 people.
You did meet 2 people. Okay. I don't seem to.
I don't- That was like session 1 or session
I
2.
think it was very early on.
It was very early on.
We're only 8
I don't know why you
sessions,
were
you
over there.
whiners.
something about book late fees.
I think everyone I visited that day was books and late fees.
That makes sense. That actually makes perfect sense.
So that's
Um,
on point.
no offense.
Character information. Here we go.
I made
Sense hero. Engine.
blue.
Wednesday. Character NPC. Hotel owner. Gravedigger. Vic. Vic is the person. I think I do not recall the name of the second person, but I'm going to go with Augie because I think that's.
Oh, Augie sounds familiar. I'm trying to
Cool.
find my.
Because Augie is the name of the character that when I started doing the Gravedigger and I remembered the movie that I suddenly got the inspiration, or that I'd gotten the inspiration from, I connected it and was like, oh, and he had this friend Augie, so yeah, we'll just do that. I'll just steal the name flat out since I can't think of another one quickly enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Vic and Augie. And Vic is a lizard folk.
Yes. Augie's short.
Rust-colored, darker coveralls. So yeah, you guys get to the cemetery and you see Augie is just kind of like sitting outside the main like hut that is sort of like the caretaker's house essentially, sits in the middle of everything, and he's just kind of sitting out front like eating a big thing of spaghetti and just like hanging out of his mouth and like just making a big mess of it all. But he's just having a time of it, loving every second. And you just see off in the distance, like Vic is just like chilling in a grave in a section of the cemetery that really should have, like, that's not where new graves are dug. So that's weird.
I wonder if he's doing some gardening.
Real deep hole for gardening.
I don't know.
How close are we to Augie?
Actually, we can switch over to the cemetery map if you have, or the Owlbearer screen if you have that ready to go.
I can pop it up in just a sec.
On the screen, you all should be able to see, before the audience does, that you three are kind of like up at the end of the road facing towards the house to the south, or southeast. And there's a little character sitting out front, and you can see Vic over in the graveyard. He's the shield.
Over yonder? The building with the yellow circle is the church, right?
It's more of like a shrine and a mausoleum. Like it's a little walk-in burial area for like special rich people, essentially.
Cool.
Shrine.
Is this place big enough for the wagon to go through?
Oh yeah, these roads are big enough for carts and like, because usually the cart will come down with the casket and then people have to take it off and carry it over. So yeah, the carts should be fine.
It's a precursor.
That's no.
Oh my god.
Take an inspiration point.
So bad.
You earned it.
Yeah. There also been.
I would have said psychic damage, but sure.
Oh no, I reward puns.
Oh
They're my
God.
favorite thing, and they require a lot more intelligence than anyone gives them credit for.
Oh man, I'm crying. That was
Greatly
great.
depends on the pun.
I mean, if you're just regurgitating a common one, obviously, but that was off the cuff. There was no way that was prepped ahead of time.
And if you realized it, you know when I thought of it, because I started laughing before I even said it.
Yeah.
FYI, you have Ave on there instead of Chanor.
Did I swap them? Oh, I did. I'm so sorry. I gotta do that on the screen.
She's come back from the dead.
Oh.
I mean, apparently Gauze is a dragon now, so
Look,
why not?
I got limited options. Leave me alone.
Yeah, there's not a lot of... I didn't do customized for enough stuff.
Yeah. How dare you not make me customize tokens for my goats? All my goats.
Yeah, you guys see Augie, you see Vic. Your call of how you want to start or approach the conversation, or if you just want to like skulk around and sit on those benches over there and like wait to see what's going on. I don't know what you want to do, but you have options.
Y'all want to split up and some talk to Augie and some talk to Vic, or do y'all want to go as a team?
Which one do you know? Or which ones did you know both of them?
I met both of them a while
I
ago.
will note that you know that Augie is almost nonverbal.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah. Okay, good. I didn't know if you remembered.
Vic does most of the talking, because Augie doesn't do any of the talking.
Probably going to Vic would be the smarter decision.
Yeah, although Snipps, with your skills, you might actually be able to talk to Augie in a better way.
Augie is eating a plate of spaghetti.
I mean,
I'm good with
I don't know.
whatever.
I might. I have to. Well, the way this works is basically I need
Oh,
to.
they can't talk back.
Yeah, I need to share a language with them, and they cannot respond to me. So
Gotcha.
I can also just talk to them.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I forgot there was not a response mechanic that was allowed.
I've heard there's a spell for that, but I don't know it.
Mayhaps. Okay, so Vic it is. We're gonna see Vic.
Yeah.
Cool.
But
Presumably you all roll towards Vic, or are you going to call out and get him to come over? Do you want to go to him, or do you want to get him to come to you?
Probably go to him, I suppose.
Closer.
Yeah,
He's already at work. Why would we make him work more?
I want to see what's going on. I will send Bandage over to say hi to Augie. Like carefully, trepidatiously, slowly.
Oh yeah. You send Bandage over, and then you guys start walking towards Vic, and as Bandage gets close, Augie gets very protective of the plate for a second, but it's also just sort of like...
Oh, that's adorable.
Protective. Like trying to pet a dog and eat like without the dog getting to the food at the same time, like very much a little kid not knowing what to prioritize.
That's 100% fair. I'll have
that is so cute.
Bandage be friendly and Bandage no stealing the food.
Yeah, they get along well, and after a minute, like, Augie just shuffles down the food a little bit quicker. But at the end, actually, roll me an animal handling check. We're gonna do it in reverse.
Sure.
Ah,
Haven't
How
done
well
that.
the animal handles the person.
That's interesting. That is a 17. Wait, -1, technically 16.
So Bandage does a pretty good job of like being playful and non-intrusive to the point where like at the end when Augie's like shoveled down as much of the spaghetti as possible, there's a meatball left and he like goes to eat it and then thinks about it and like cuts it in half and like shares it and now they're best
Oh.
friends.
Oh.
And I have lost
Oh.
ownership of Bandage. That was unfortunate.
oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. Otherwise, move that is over here. Actually, let's have you go down the road. That would be less weird.
Probably be the most respectful way.
Just walking over graves. So yeah, you guys head over, and eventually Vic notices, and he's just like, "Oh, hey, just doing some caretakering.
Yeah.
How are you folks?
Good, Vic. How are you?
I am good. But do I have a book out at the moment? I don't think I do. I think you picked up the last one last time, and I haven't been
No.
back to take out a new one.
I'm not here for that reason.
Okay. Okay.
Rest assured, you're not in any libraries. I'm mad at you or anything.
I just know I'm a little distracted lately, and I didn't want to. I feel bad when you have to come out here, but it looks like you have different things on your mind.
I do have different things on my mind. You remember last time how I was here, how I asked you about something strange, and you possibly mentioned zombies? Not zombies per se, but graves that people had been placed in who were unturned.
Looks from you to the other two, and I don't know how to do this in a fantasy. Or I know how to do this in a fantasy. Going. Are they with the militia?
That's a negative, compadre.
Yeah, they don't look like they're with the militia, but like,
Why
are they
not?
cool? All right.
I can
Legally, you have to
trust
tell
me.
me if you're with the militia, or else it's entrapment. I know that.
That is a law.
I have
They're
never
not with
heard
the
of
militia.
that. I have never heard of that word, but yeah, sure.
OPEC Law 1.1a.
Which is not an actual real law. Any place, kids, remember, cops can lie to you. It's totally legal.
I
Anyway.
guess
They
that
can
is
lie
slightly
to
fucked up.
you to confess.
And they do. Anyways,
Yes.
So yeah, once he calms down a little bit, he's just like, yeah, okay, so yeah, that's basically what happened here. I think. I'm actually not sure. There was, like, usually it's more disruptive. This was a little bit too tidy. Augie seems to have claimed that the alchemist lady who lives in town was here and being weird. So I don't know about anything specific, but that is what he thinks, but he's not reliable. I'm not sure.
So was she last night?
Yeah, I found it this way this morning, and he said he saw her up when he was like doing whatever he does at 2 a.m.
I mean, 2 a.m. I could go into the whole thing about like your liver and your blood sugar drops at 2 a.m., which is why most people wake up between 2 and 4 a.m. But that's
Did he
a whole
mention
other-
what she was doing?
Yeah, it's taking stuff and rooting around was the best I could get out of him. But that is, I don't know. I know, Quillz, you probably tried to talk to Augie before, and it is basically a like guessing game where you have to kind of estimate what he's saying and get a confirmation, yes or no. It's not really a conversation. Maybe you can get a keyword or two sometimes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's the closest I was able to get before we seemed to hit an impasse, and it was enough information to me to not terribly. And I will tell you, like, I remember when this person was buried, and I didn't notice anything blatantly missing. There might have been a tooth, or like maybe some of the bones degraded, but I can't tell what's like broken down and what is like body.
Okay. So when you came to fix the things, what was the entire body missing? Was part of the body missing?
Oh, well, that's the thing. I don't know if parts of the body were missing. Like, there's a couple of fingers that might be gone, but I don't know if that's just been like they broke down over time faster than other parts. There's a couple teeth.
Oh.
There's like clumps of hair that were missing at parts of the scalp. But again, like, there's a normal degradation process. It's hard to know. But this is an old body, so like, but the body's mostly here. Like, more than 95%, I would say.
So she was just doing her best boar impression.
And I figure
And by
alchemist,
she, I
maybe
mean
she just
Hilda.
needed. Yeah, maybe she needed ingredients of some kind. No idea.
Whose name is on this grave?
He reads it off, and it's like no one consequential. Like he's like, oh yeah, no, she just used to, live in one of the like fancier houses for a little while, years ago. Like obviously, like she, actually, you know what? I think there's a couple of people who work, at the hotel in more of like the customer relations end, where they try to like get tourists in and take care of the outsiders. Like those are her kids. That's the best I have.
Quillz.
Marcus's mom?
Not Marcus himself, but like his
Oh.
direct assistants, like he poached them from that family because they're a little bit more socially
Well
aware.
connected.
Yeah, this section of the grave of the like you notice that like the gravestones in this section are a little bit bigger than the ones in like the next plot over. This is like
Quillz.
clearly the bigger, wealthier people's graves.
Artemis has his hand up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Vinny has a thought.
Just for clarification, is the body still visible, or has he since just shoveled it over?
Yeah, no, there's a big mound of fresh dirt that has been replaced, so it's not grown.
Gotcha.
It's not grassy like the rest of the patches. It's just why it stood out.
Okay, gotcha.
Quillz,
Chanor?
could you do some magic detection just to make sure?
Yeah. Quillz is gonna get 15 feet from Snipps. And then she's gonna cast Detect Magic.
So a few things happen. Like 4 or 5 graves around you give off different levels of magical energy. And you can just sort of presume that they were buried with objects or artifacts that caught your attention. Snipps is sort of like, I don't know how to describe this, like reverse radiating. There's sort of a dimness around Snipps at the moment.
The absent,
Or
like
like instead of a glow, yeah, it's like a pull.
like a black hole.
Yeah, a bit. And the grave that you guys are standing at, nothing is really jumping out, but you also like in some of the footprints and like a little bit of the soil, you can sense a little bit of blight energy, and you can assume that that's just because Hilda was here interacting with stuff.
Okay, so nothing. She's gonna reiterate that information to Snipps and Chanor. I mean, the only blighty stuff seems to be causation from when Hilda was here. And I'm assuming that. Ooh, go ahead.
That's fun. That's all. That's all I was gonna say.
She was gonna say, I'm assuming that the 4 or 5 graves that are glowing are because they're pretty affluent people and could probably have afforded a magic item to be buried with them.
Jokes.
I was gonna say, be real useful.
Yeah, it would have been useful right now.
Yeah, so Nick is sort of just like, all right. Yeah, so there has been some weird stuff, and I guess it seems like you folks are all trying to figure something out, so maybe this is useful information, I'm not sure. But for a while now, anytime I bury somebody, within the next day or two, they get back up, and then I've had to put them back down. It hasn't been anything I wanted to advertise. Obviously, it's a stressful thing, and you know, the loved ones would be kind of mortified by the concept, but I didn't feel comfortable just sort of letting these clearly not alive things that were functioning somehow go back to town. I did consult with the priest or the archpriest over at the church.
Right, so
at this point, he just. All right. At this point, he thinks about it. He's like, and I really wish the holy water had any effect on them because we really thought it was gonna for a minute. but just really like nothing.
So what you're saying is you get a dead body, you bury it, and about a day later, it just rises out of the ground again and starts walking around.
One or two, yeah. It's gotten to the point where like I will often do a shallow bury on the first pass and just kind of like put a chair out and sit by the grave and wait for them to pop up. It's way easier than letting them climb all the way to the surface and do the whole thing. Sometimes their eyes are glowing a little bit of a weird tealish blue color. Sometimes there's like weird light coming out of their mouth. It's very fucking strange.
Did you say weird light or weird blight coming out of their mouth?
Light, like a little bit of a glow.
Okay. I just
For you guys, it does sound like a milder version of what the people at the lake were doing, where they were like blatting light.
So
my just out of character, my brain immediately went bonk. Go back to horny grave.
Basically, yeah.
how long has it been doing this around, you think?
Oh. At least 2 of the past birthdays of Augie's, because both parties were interrupted, and he takes that more seriously, so I remember the temper tantrums during. But, so maybe 2 years and 2 months?
Gotcha.
It was intermittent at first. It wasn't every grave at first. But, like, within the past, it's been every person for maybe the past year.
That's a lot of people.
Maybe just a personal
About 4
question.
dozen overall, yeah.
So I had a friend that got buried very recently, about 2 weeks ago.
Wait.
When did she? Ave. Ave
no,
Blossom. Did she
Right, a
come
couple
back?
things.
And if yes,
Did
when?
we cremate her? I thought we cremated her.
So that's the thing, is that you got some of her belongings, but she had been cremated by the fire, the magical fire that killed her.
Yeah.
So like there was no body to put in the ground.
Okay.
So that's why you don't know Vic already, is because this didn't happen here. Like he didn't have to do a grave digging or anything. You just had a memorial and kind of like did a ceremony thing. You probably have seen
Fair
Vic,
enough.
but you probably
Okay.
haven't interacted with him recently. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
We can just hand wave, but he's just like, you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, that's silly.
Makes sense.
Besides the glowing, was there any interesting or unique properties of the things crawling out? Did they do anything, or was they easy, like one swipe done type of thing?
I mean, it wasn't easy. Some of them are a little bit more resilient than others. Some of them like spat stuff at me, but I'm faster than I look, so it never hit. A lot of them didn't have a really good focus. They seem to be very easily distracted. A couple of them tried to start digging in some of the other graves, and like he points in like a few directions, and because your magical detection's still up, you notice that he's pointing at the ones that have the magical auras like emanating from underneath. Quillz. So you can kind of just be like, oh yeah, they're drawn to the magical objects that are clearly buried with these people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's just sort of like, yeah, no, they're not terribly communicative. Like sometimes they'll have a word that they're muttering, but like they're less verbal than Augie, and that's kind of the important takeaway. I tried communicating with a couple. There's no acknowledgement. They just seem to be active, interested by certain things that I can't pinpoint why or what. And then they just start walking towards stuff, and I don't really think it was appropriate to let that happen. If there was any sort of consciousness or like awareness, interaction, response to stimuli that I could see a direct thing of, I probably would not have resorted directly to just like bonk on the head or to be fair, I'm taking the heads completely off just to be safe, and then put them back. Yes. Oh, actually, Quillz then Chanor. Actually, no. Out of operations, Chanor then Quillz.
Why? I had a brain fart. Come back to me. God damn it.
Okay, Quillz first, then Chanor.
This is Elle, not Quillz. Is there an embalming process that happens at this point in time, or no?
Not so much an embalming process in like a modern sense. Like they're not formaldehyding it. Closer to like an Egyptian preparation where they're just trying to like They do like an in-house wake often, unless it's a big popular person who they know a lot of people are going to attend. They do a little bit of making the person not look a mess, but they don't really put on makeup or like anything special. Yeah, they're not as worried. Like they make sure to like empty the body of fluids and things like that to make sure that there isn't like weird gases or bloating while people are trying to mourn, but they're not really going out of their way to like preserve the corpse.
They're just salting it.
Basically, yeah, like draining it a little bit of anything that's gonna like become putrid, and then otherwise just kind of letting it jerky itself out, which sounds insensitive, but that's basically what they used to do in like the 15 to 1400s most of the time, or maybe a little earlier. I don't know when formaldehyde was made, but before formaldehyde, that was basically the process.
I was about to say, if they used formaldehyde or something like an embalming process, this would have been an easy thing. But no. No.
Free chemical preservatives.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I just thought I'd go there.
Worth a check.
Is it... Snipps, can you hold up your vial of holy water, please?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no.
What
I got
is...
some from the vicar and tried to like.
No, she wants to see what
Oh,
or the
yes,
holy water.
Yeah, you definitely see a energy. It doesn't feel the same as magic in the same sense, but it is definitely like a brighter, radiant energy. Like it is somehow obvious that that's a different property than both blight and magic.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you,
Chanor.
Snipps.
I don't remember what I was originally going to say, but if Snipps is holding this holy water, is the holy water being drained?
No, interestingly. Oh shoot, I didn't think of that in the viewing of it. Yeah, you notice that it is not pulling into Snipps. The blight is not able to feed off radiant energy the same way it is off of other magics or other damage types, for lack of a better, for meta concepts.
Yep. That's good knowledge. I wish I remembered my question. I don't remember if it was important enough to remember. It was something related to the graves, but that's all I can remember. It was something related to them. I can't remember specifics.
Roll me an intelligence check. Let's see if he just decides to offer up information, or that your character off-screen asks a question that gets something vital, because there is some other information you guys could probably trip over that I have.
11.
Yeah.
There's either that there is an original grave, or if there is a way. Can you see the veins of blight in the ground, Quillz?
Can she?
Nothing like that, but if you're asking that, and Vic hears it, he's gonna be like the blight, like from the forest back in the day.
Seems it's back.
He said light.
Oh, I said blight.
God, good grief, Chanor.
Yeah, it seems to be back.
It's the blight. There's been some zombification.
I mean, he's been dealing with zombies for the past over 2 years.
I was going to say,
so
Quillz, I don't know what you plan on saving
if
this individual by not telling them. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
what
know.
you thought that was gonna.
I just from a panic attack. I don't know.
No, I have questions now. You saw zombification not here.
Yes.
So you know, like brine fog. We kind of ran into a horde of corpses that were also running around and just spitting shiny stuff.
Lake water.
From the lake.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we ran into this dude who turned himself into like a half of a fish.
So you're saying that the lake water has some connection somehow?
We're saying there's a lot of places that have connections, and we don't know the exact ways they work. But
I mean,
yes.
This is the earthen version of the water there.
Yeah, but the way we figured it out. Nope, go ahead.
I was gonna say you look distressed about the fact that we specified the lake.
Because I think there's a common denominator that Makes sense. So the main river runs around town, and that's the one that the boats use and the docks use and all that stuff. There's a little bit of an outcropping that cuts in north of Lorda towards the forest. And there's a couple of springs that bubble up in the forest from old stories that I remember. I don't know how accurate it is. I don't think I've seen one in person, like maybe when I was super little. But I can tell you for a fact that in the Mausoleum, there's some catacombs under here, and there is a underground river that runs right through all this, which means all of the graveland around here is probably in somewhat absorbing range of some sort of water that's running towards that lake region, or at least back towards the main river in that direction.
Just for funsies, would it be possible to gain access to the mausoleum to check it, just to make sure?
Yeah, no, I mean,
Maybe
to
go from the mausoleum to the underground river. I don't know the lay of the land here. I've never been to the mausoleum, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's not protected or like guarded or anything. I never even thought to check it. Like, I've just seen the bodies popping up here. Like, nothing in the mausoleum's ever popped up or run around that I noticed. So like, I didn't even think about it at the time. Like,
I
why
mean,
would
if it's in the mausoleum, then it's probably inside some kind of stone sarcophagi or something like that.
Well,
So
the entrance is in the shrine over there. Like, there's a thing that takes you down, and it's
No,
basically
I mean the
like
bodies inside of the dead people inside of the mausoleum. They would
no, it's
probably
kind of
not
like
be inside the tainted earth.
some of them have just been like, there's just like little holes dug into the walls, and there's just like bodies. But a lot of them are so old that I'm guessing, 'cause again, it's like not all the bodies have gotten up here. It's only the recent ones that get put in, and that's just becoming more frequent. So maybe you have to be you might need a certain amount of muscle mass for it to seep in and like actually control stuff. Maybe if you're just bones, it can't do the thing.
We should probably check on that.
When was the last time somebody was buried in the mausoleum?
Oh, no, that has not happened in like over a decade.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah.
Like, even then, that was just for like traditional people who were like, my great grandmother's down there, and I want to be buried next to her. So that's why there's a couple of like stone sarcophagi, but there's not many.
No, the hoity-toity aristocrat folk.
Ugh.
Yeah, there's always a couple who like feel it's tradition and stick with it. But like for the most part, everyone just get buried up here now.
Yeah, tradition for tradition's sake.
Yeah,
Right.
nobody wants to have a memorial in there. I promise. Like, it's not ugly, but it's not pretty. Like, you have to be a certain type of person to appreciate catacombs and whatnot.
I mean, I appreciate catacombs, but not for the reason that those people do.
Yeah, and yeah, you're historically minded. For you, that it makes sense. And like, maybe some of the like, if Yesenia had a sudden interest to go check them out, I'd get it. Like, there's some sort of creative inspiration, maybe, or like, I don't know. But yeah, standard gen population, definitely not being like, can we have our ceremony underground where it's all musty and weird?
Yeah. So, catacombs?
I mean, I guess.
I mean, it's that, or we go try to find and deal with whatever Hilda keeps screwing around with. That's also worrisome. But
yeah, but also this kind of seems like the more pressing issue, and also we are currently at the cemetery, so we might as well check out the thing that keeps happening at the cemetery.
I agree. I was stating the other thing of importance that we would need to do, but obviously leaning towards the thing that we're right next to.
Quillz, do that again, please.
I said, when in Rome.
Thank you. I caught it, or I knew what you said, even though I couldn't quite hear it, but I got what you were going for, and I just wanted to make sure the audience did.
I got quick today, guys.
I will say that as you are all talking and like kind of pinning down, like, do we need to pick up any other stuff? Do you want to bring something with you? What should we do with the cart? Like, you're working out some of the logistics, and as you suddenly realize, like, oh, and I should see if maybe we should bring bandage. Augie is riding bandage around the goddamn cemetery, like just hurtling over tombstones, and they're just having a fucking time with it. And Vic's just like, I'm glad he's having fun, but the second you guys leave, he's gonna ask me if he can get a goat. You see what you've done to my life now.
I mean, just tell him to go to the clinic in his off time. There's probably going to be some goats there. Also, I know that sounds very weird, but It makes sense, trust me.
Also, if you just get a goat, it'd probably be a good warning sign for whenever a zombie randomly rises. I don't know if they work as good as
fair.
like a call dog, but
I'm,
I have
I'm
literally just
not
Also ran the
things you probably
crap
get
out
it
of them, so you
useful.
won't have to knock them all on the head.
jeez, we need to start muting if people just keep talking over each other.
Sorry.
Artemis, what were you trying to say there?
No, it's just, isn't that kind of more of a goose thing?
You talking?
Which for the audience is actually why most farmers in the Middle Ages had geese, because they're a lot cheaper and a lot more effective than guard dogs.
And they're
And
annoying.
if any of you watch Firefly, sometimes people juggle them.
I haven't seen Firefly in
I
ages.
think that's like the third Firefly reference during OPEC.
Today?
During OPEC.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's weird. I have not watched it recently, but like the quotes still stick with me. Like,
I mean, it's Nathan Fillion.
yeah, actually, that one was Alan Tudyk, to be fair. But yeah, there's such good delivery of good lines on that show that they have stuck in my head. I should rewatch it. Maybe I'll do that after next Wednesday, presuming it's free, which it looks like it will be. That's how I'll spend my evening, is rewatching Firefly instead of doing this.
I was going to say there's always movie night possibilities.
Does
Fair.
Possibilities.
does whatever mausoleum we're going into look like I could fit gauze in it?
Can we take the
Remind me
cart?
how big gauze is comparatively? Are we talking like
Technically,
horse size, ox size?
I think horse size, but I'm really not sure. It's a large creature, whatever that counts as.
Probably pony to horse. So yeah, we'll say that you can probably make that work.
Of quarter horse.
I want to bring one of my familiars. Either have put Augie on gauze and take bandage, or leave bandage to his fun and bring.
It's definitely one of those like dramatic two gates that open and like enough that you could like walk in together carrying a body between. So yeah, I'm guessing it's big enough that you could like gauze, even if they had to like drop their head a little bit so their horns aren't scraping, they'll figure it out.
Gotcha.
Cool. Okay, is there anything? So, first, does anyone have any final questions for Vic? Snipps, we'll go down in order, and then I'll check to see if there's any last preparations you guys want to do, or like make sure you have on you, or hand wave to say that you remember to bring, or that's in the cart or something. But Snipps?
Yeah. Snips's thought would just be something along the lines of if there's an access to the mausoleum, is there also an access from the mausoleum to the underground river, or do we have to sort of find our own way for that?
Oh no,
And
no.
also
like half the mausoleum, like when you go down, there's like a couple of openings. There's a different shrine underground, but like most of it's just like peppered with bodies in the walls. But there's like a little bridge that takes you over the river to like a second area of the mausoleum.
Very nice. And also just to basically ask Vic for a rough description of the area inside of the mausoleum, just to get basically a very rough plan.
Yeah.
So we don't go into there completely blind.
He's going to give you directions, but he's going to give you directions like somebody in a rural area tells you how to get from one place to another. So it's like, all right, so yeah, you'll head down some stairs, and you're going to turn right, and you're going to go past. You're probably going to want to turn right, like about 50 feet before the other turn right. So like turn right, and then there's like the water, but then you have to like go up anyway to get across the bridge, and then there's like some rooms and stuff, and like a little dead end off to the side. But if you actually like hit the dead end, then turn back and look to your left at that point, and you should be fine.
Like when you get to the tree that smells like bear pee, you've gone too far.
And when you get to the bridge, do not get confused. If you like don't cross the bridge and you keep going straight, you will end up in the forest, and you don't want to end up in the forest.
Why not?
Use Confuse Ray. It is very effective.
Because the forest is like properly where the blight always came from. I'm assuming if the blight's back in some context, but that's where it's like doing stuff.
I mean, we've heard some stuff about basically plant kitties who try to swipe at people. So I guess.
Oh, if I remember the old stories, like there was plant cats, there was like frog hives. Have you ever seen a frog hive? My dad described it to me when I was very little, and I had nightmares for a week. It's literally like a frog, but it's like made out of a bulb of a plant and some vines, but it's just like peppered with these little holes and these like insect versions of like blight bloated thing. Oh, it was just horrifying.
I mean, I know of frogs that do that naturally, but yeah, no, that does not sound fun.
I'm gonna have nightmares again. I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that. I'm gonna put that out of my head somehow.
I mean, there is a species called the honeycomb toad.
You're talking about the frog that carries its tadpoles on its back?
Don't do it.
Yep, the Suriname.
Yeah, if you have trypophobia or trypophobia.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's
I
just a
can give you
visual thing,
Villetta
like
name if you want to search for it.
But it's just a visual problem. It doesn't. Oh, maybe there are things that actually like spawn off of it. I can't freaking tell.
It carries its
carries
tadpoles on its
young.
back.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's young. Okay.
Well,
okay.
not on, but in his back.
Yeah, it's like
yeah. I did not know that was a thing, but I did for the novel that I wrote. There is a toad that like bees come out of and are a problem, and I never considered. Yeah, now I know that there's at least a better biological link for what I wrote than what exists. But
we call it the reverse kangaroo.
Terrifying.
Sorry, Snipps, are you all set with your details?
I'm all set with disturbing a poor innocent graveyard keeper with
this poor man. This poor man.
Chanor, any last questions, thoughts, or preps?
I'm gonna see if we have any. Well, first I'm gonna ask: do you know if there's any artifacts down there that could be helpful? Like, I assume they're fancy, so they might have something that could actually be helpful with what we're dealing with, but I have no idea. Did they have a scepter that the family really loved or something, or was anything?
I mean, I guess it's possible that some of the people down there have enchanted items buried with them, but if that's the case, they're in the stone ones, definitely not in the walls. And a couple of people buried here probably have like some jewelry or stuff that may have some like imprints of magic on them, but nothing. I mean, Issa was the only one who did anything Blight specific that we're aware of. Like there were some people who tried to pick fights with stuff out there, but like none of them were very effective until she kind of like cleared house.
That's fair. The one other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get us a bunch of some type of water sealed or waterproof bags and like tie them up around our legs so we aren't like stepping in any blight infected like mud or water or stuff.
Oh, like the crime scene.
You're putting on waders.
Bootsies. Yeah, or actually, yeah, that's pretty good too.
Look,
I was thinking crime scene bootsies, but I like that too.
Look, I just wanna. I don't want
from the south. We put on waders.
All to get infected, you know.
Swamp boots.
I don't know if it can get worse for Snipps. I don't know if it could infect us through like a break in our toenails. I don't need.
I'm not that evil, but I see your concerns, and I respect them.
More Chanors than
first thought is.
But
Quillz is like, thanks. I need to save the books too this time.
I will note for the audience that we have had recent moments of in Discord discussions where like Vinny's DMing styles and evilness has come up, and I've been like, and then Vinny says something, I'm like, see, that's way less evil than I would have, because I would have done this, and everyone's like, that's horrible. I'm like, I know. We got off light with Vinny's evil.
I also don't. Okay, the couple of times that specific got pointed out, you were like, I would do this, and people were talking about it, and I'm like, well, that's predictable evil. I don't care if it's more evil, it's still predictable, and I don't want to do predictable all the time.
Oh, that's definitely fair.
Through predictability.
No, my evil is definitely not obvious, and definitely worse than yours.
Yeah. When it's like, oh, bring the alternate timeline people in to fight themselves, it's like, well, yeah, that's predictable. I don't want to do that. It's boring.
I would have had fun with it, though. Cool. Okay. So wait, Chanor, did we go through your entire
Those
list
are
of...
the only two things. I warned Augie. I
Augie.
assume it's Augie. Be like, Augie, at some point, your friend there might disappear when I needed to call him. Just a warning. So, I'm gonna hold off as long as possible. But if I need him, you know that means we're in serious trouble. This is me explaining if I call Bandage, I'm hoping Vic is also listening, that they know that means something wrong is going on.
And Vic definitely gets it, and is like, but also at the same time is like, if it happens, you can have a cookie as an apology. And then he also looks at you and just like, and he also like looks at you and goes, I have a flare that I can fire off. Sometimes the militia shows up, sometimes Giuseppe shows up. Like, there's a few people who like come help when the flares go off. A couple of the business owners have them here. I borrowed it from the militia. I didn't tell them why, but I figured in case the zombie thing got bad, I wanted a way to like alert people, but they'll respond. Yeah, so if something goes really bad and I see that happen, I'll do the thing.
Yeah, I give like a pleading thank you, like, thanks for watching out for us.
But also really good job giving him a signal to like alert from. Even if he's not paying attention, Augie will make a noise and he'll look up and be like, oh, go have a cookie.
Zombie horde approaching. Anyways, yeah.
Bring out your dead.
Bring out your dead. I'm not dead. Yes, you are.
Sometimes I can still hear his voice.
Oh god. Monty Python, everybody. In case you need to go and watch something fun. After all this drama and...
Not horrible because everyone is a horrible person.
There's a really good chance that the rest of the session is tragedy, so keep Monty Python and the Holy Grail ready to stream after you're done watching us, please.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Anyway, Quillz. Prep and last thoughts, any last conversational pieces, anything you want to make sure that you flash back and claim that's already with you?
Yeah, she's gonna do a pat of her in her bag. She's gonna be like, Quill, got it. Bookmark, got it. Spellbook, got it. Ziploc bag, got it. Books, sure, got them. She's gonna be like, cool. Snipps is there, Chanor's there, Gauze is there, Bandage is over there. I think we got everything. And everybody.
Nice. Alright,
This is the diaper bag checklist.
So, the map is up on screen, right, Owlbear?
Yes.
Yep.
Ooh,
Yep.
That was a button that I didn't want to hit.
So, you all eventually find yourselves led into the mausoleum, and find yourselves at the entryway of this little catacomb tunnel. And Vic just sort of shouts down, he's just like, everything down there should be properly dead. Like dead, not like mostly dead. And, there's some torches and stuff that kind of like light up as you get close. Giuseppe did a great job making proximity lights so I didn't have to keep going down there and like refilling oil lamps and shit whenever people wanted to go visit. So yeah, just make your way through. Be careful of the water. If I see the baby goat up here vanish and I hear Augie scream, I'll set the thing off, but otherwise, good luck.
Thanks.
I mean, if there's anything down there that isn't definitely dead, then we'll try to take care of it and make it more dead.
Yeah, actually, that sounds good. Do that. If you could figure out which hole they came from, like, put them back, too. If that'd be super convenient. But if you have to, like, you can head out, and I'll double-check that if I need to.
We'll try, thanks.
So you folks make your way down, and in all the walls, there's, like, I want to say, like, 8 slots going up, and it is honeycombed, kind of, like, where there's just little, like, Japanese hotel-style, like, tubes that people are just sleeping in. I know that's a little bit culturalist, but like they do have those hotels.
Okay.
So, Snipps, I'm not mad at you for anything that's happened, and what I'm gonna say is not me trying to be mean. You either need to be ahead of us or behind us, because if something comes at us, we all need to be able to do what we can do.
Yeah, of course. If you don't want me to just get all the good stuff while you can't really do anything because I siphon it out all away.
Yeah, I don't know if we cast something that goes through your aura, if it just dissipates too, because that would be... that just wouldn't be good. So,
I don't know.
like, if we cast a fireball, do you get hit by the fireball, or does you just absorb the energy from it? Like, there's a lot of questions, and some of these we just really don't want to test. No, exactly.
So, I mean,
do you have...
I'm not the most perceptive, but do you want me to go ahead?
I was gonna say, do you have dark vision? Because we... Oh no, we have lights, so that actually... Okay, cool.
I have dark vision. I'm okay in the dark.
Okay, so yeah, it's up to you if you want to be first or last. I just want us to make sure we can all do things when we need to. That's all.
Yeah.
I think I have dark vision too, but let me double check.
I believe
you're
you all do,
right?
but more importantly, there are lights down here, so it really doesn't come up.
Okay. Fair.
In case it does.
But everyone roll me a passive perception, or tell me other passive perceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Crap. 10.
9.
Nice.
I feel like Quillz is the one who always wins on perception stuff, so I think that's going to be higher. You have to be a 14.
Hope so.
I get a 6.
For
passive perception?
Oh, no. Sorry. Passive is
10 plus your modifier for perception.
Oh, 13, yeah.
Actually, I'll call it with 13. I said 14, but like that's one off, and it's not terribly valuable information at that level. Had you gotten higher, you would have gotten more info. But the base info, as you guys are like standing there, there's a lull in the conversation as you're trying to figure out, like the two of them are trying to figure out who should be in front, who should be behind, and then there's like a pause as they're thinking about it. And for a second, Quillz, you think you hear someone singing badly, like trying to sing a little bit, but like doing a really bad job. Just a couple
She's
notes
just gonna like
of vocalization.
Her attention's just automatically gonna be like somewhere ahead and like start being like, what? Did y'all just no? Is that just me?
What?
Did y'all hear anything?
No. I mean,
Like,
I was talking and it has a little bit of a reverb or something like that, but no, not really.
It sounded like someone was making an attempt to sing badly or something to that.
That might be Gauze's farts. They sound weird.
The farts sound weird. Okay. Alright. Possibly.
Nothing. Sorry, I accidentally deleted a thing on the screen for a second.
I have us zoomed in.
Viewers and no one else saw.
Nope, not even the viewers. We're very zoomed into one particular spot, so.
Perfect.
All they can see is the like L shape that we're about to go up, I assume. So.
Yes. And that is perfect. Okay, cool. So are you folks advancing at all? Are you going to like go to at least the corner? Like, how are you going to approach this early phase?
I'm going to, because no one really said anything against it, I'm just going to take the helm and just go at least to here so I can see around the corner.
Cool. Boop, boop. So you look down the hall, and from the distance down, you see most of the way in, and it gets a little darker, like past the next few lights. You can see a couple lights further in, but nothing. They're not giving off enough light to really define stuff that far out. But you are seeing like 120 feet, so it's not like it's dark vision inhibited or anything. I think that's about how far.
That's about 70 feet.
You're seeing about 80 feet up, yeah.
Okay.
So
So if the others are following me, I'm just going to advance to here-ish so I can see a little bit further, hopefully.
How far ahead are you staying from them?
15 feet was, I
15.
think, the thing that
The
where
safety.
Yeah.
Chanor seemed to get a pull.
Neat. Also, are you guys sneaking or are you just walking? There's no real good reason to, but if you're just paranoid because you're in a spooky place, I would understand.
Snipps is not trying to be sneaky. His train of thought is more along the lines of, so if we are hurt by something that's alive, they might come at us, so we'll have an easier time dealing with them because we don't have to search for them.
Cool.
They could hide from us, though. It's the opposite thing.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Quillz
but
is
you
sneaking
start-
because she thought she heard a voice, so Quillz is sneaking.
Fair. But you are, if he's not sneaking and you are, it's far less impactful that I need you to make a roll.
I know. I know.
So, Snipps, you keep going up front. I will need you to make about 10 to 15 feet more progress before I can unlock the next section, but you're going to
Yep.
see not a lot going on yet. Yeah, there's just sort of like, you start seeing branches coming off in different directions. Way off in the distance, you see a brighter light than the rest of them, which might be the shrine that the guy told you about.
Yeah.
He did say it was in that direction, theoretically, but then there was this kind of break off that he did warn you was probably where you wanted to turn. But you see,
Yeah.
like, a couple of breaches. It's weird. Okay, so you're moving up further towards that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can see
Do I
that there's
hear
like...
the water? Which I'm assuming that is
Sorry.
some kind of water on the
Yes.
map.
So as you come up to that point, and you like look over, you do realize that there's been this low kind of rushing sound aside from anything else that has been in the background that you didn't quite tune into until like now. Quillz probably tuned into it, but got distracted by the singing. But yeah, you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, it's not running rapidly, so it's just sort of like this
Trickle.
low background hum. But yeah, there's just clearly a river that's passing by that you can see the edges of.
I'm going to go up a little bit more and then just look in this direction.
Roll me a perception check.
Gotcha. 14.
Fantastic. So, you see a number of things. The lighting in this direction is a little bit better once you get across the river, it turns out. But most importantly, you see a table with a bunch of, like, makeshift chairs, like, just chunks of rock that have been shoved up to it. The table looks like it might have been a sarcophagus at some point that's been, like, had an extra slab thrown over the top. And there's, like, flatter rocks that have chunks of, like, weird bluish globs thrown on them. And as you look down, you see, and now can clearly hear what Quillz was seeing earlier, there's just this sort of desiccated corpse that is, like, shiny-eyed and just walking around with this big bowl of, like, something and just kind of, like, singing to itself and splutting stuff down. And Quillz, recognize the song being sung. I'm sorry, not Quillz. Snipps, you recognize the song being sung as one that Ave sang to herself when cooking, waiting for customers to arrive. So that's our break. We're going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to get our bearings and get bathroom breaks and refresh with beverages and whatnot, but we'll see you all back here in a few minutes, folks.
I mean, there's mask that you got, the pale visage. I did update that.
Cool.
So I'm going to send you the updated version.
I'm sorry, say that one more time?
The mask called the pale visage that Lyra found so far back.
Great!
So
Just great.
all I had it marked down as, I don't think it had a name as far as I knew. I knew it was a white scaled mask that when I wore it allowed me
it's
to
a
do
dragon
cold
scale mask. Yep.
but it would allow, I could feel something looking through the mask with me, so I didn't use it that often.
That really sounds like Tiamat.
It really does
right
now.
There.
Yeah.
You
Fuck Tiamat.
face so Tiamat
Vinny?
could look through your eyes.
Yeah.
Vinny. Vinny, look at me. Look at me, Vinny. Go fuck yourself.
We haven't even started playing yet.
I'm having some emotions.
All the live long as halflings, we can run through large creatures. I'm going to run between its legs and try to get his attention over here and say, "Hey, you're going to stop that now."
Its head does turn towards you, and the eyes light up again to blast, but as you come around and confront it in that way, there is a delay in the moment, and it gives Ave a moment to act before that fires off.
Sid gets a sending message and just hears in their mind.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
Here's, Mama, I haven't failed you yet. Much improved. Where the hell have you been? Miss you. Fuck 'em up.
I will say you don't get that message.
What?
What?
You're not playing that character right now. You don't know what's going on. Sid, you have a nice daydream about a message from maybe.
Oof.
Vinny. Ow.
Vincent, the fuck? There.
Is the pale visage.
Shh, go read it.
That looked pretty wild. I liked it. I think there's a reason that he made it so we couldn't buy it even with our combined wealth.
Is it alright, Vinny?
Hmm?
Is it alright if I read it out loud, the description?
Oh yeah.
Okay. With a spiderweb crack on the center forehead gilded with star metal, this pure white mask is made of a singular white drag. Vincent!
Vinny?
Vinny! A singular white dragon scale. Peering through the mask, you see the world in odd hues and shades. You gain +2 to your AC and intimidation skill when attuned.
Dude!
Didn't we... I just talked to you guys.
Yes, darling, catch up.
Round. How are we feeling, guys?
I am not feeling good.
Just fucking peachy.
Cool.
Did I take any damage from that real quick?
Oh, you took 14 damage. Thank you for reminding me.
So happy to help.
Never remind him.
Hey, did we have homework last night?
That was...
I'm not drowning.
That was,
I am sleeping so good.
that was kind of the... That was kind of the energy that got tossed out.
Put it back, put it back, put it back, put it back!
I put it back!
I mean, when you take it out because you are strong, you feel like whatever it was attached to on the inside it snaps away from. So like it's like pulling out a weed. So like you can put it back on top, but it's just gonna sit there. It's not gonna be in the ground again, so to speak.
We definitely just killed this guy. Like killed this guy. Oh fuck.
Funny shit. It's funny as shit.
It hurts now.
Yeah, full stress to full laughter does that.
I'm gonna mute now. I'll be right back.
You go do your thing.
I really want like pixie form of like Eldritch Blast.
That's not me, though.
Alright, Mickey Mouse.
My
Something-
grandfather loves boxed wine, so maybe this is actually a good thing.
What's up, Azanar?
Something that is at least older than 15 years.
In a box?
In a box.
Do boxes live that long?
No, absolutely not.
I just
This
enjoy the phrase these
conversation.
boxes live that long.
This conversation.
Emphasis on live.
This is how I die, folks. Goodbye.
5e monk class things just by typing in crazy gun monk in Google.
That sounds
surprising.
That sounds super correct. Yeah, Kensai
Yeah,
monks with
technically-
guns are really...
Technically speaking, thanks to Tasha's, gun monk can officially be a thing.
It is. I made a bunch. It was great.
Oh my God.
It was really fun.
I hate this.
Oh, they were great.
Next to Arc, Crazy Gun Monks. Party
Yes.
name.
Yeah, sure. I'll recommend that to the Dark Arc people. Alright.
I
Do you guys want to go get tattoos?
fuck this.
Yes, tattoos. And
I would
then
like a
maybe
tattoo, Papa.
Stab me, daddy.
You didn't like that, Connie? I mean, Mel.
I got worse. It got worse when
When Nova talked?
Yes.
Yeah, I do that. I'm sorry.
And maybe you guys are able to stealth around in the zoo. The animals are helping you. They don't know what you're doing, but they like go in front of you when the time is right.
Help.
Missy is very noticeable. I would say Missy probably does not help. But like there's a giant elk who's just like standing there, takes 2 steps forward to block your view, to block the view for a second, 2 steps back. So yeah, you guys are able to spy as these two go around and check out like